Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book, this being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Legends of Tomorrow. So in this episode, the team went to 2147 on their mission to stop Savage. This is a particular point in time because what happened, basically in this time, Savage is training his pupil. I keep messing up his name, Dagaton, something like that. Basically, he's going to be the one, 5 years from 2147, he ends up releasing a virus that, wipes out a lot of, the outside, because basically, a lot of the world is, there's a part of the society that's locked away in a specific country, and outside of that country, inside, it's kind of somewhat peaceful. People are well dressed, crime is on, the downglide. There's not much crime simply because Ray's suits are being mass produced and they're what keep, order in this world. I mean, and by order, they pretty much kill any criminal, even for something as petty as stealing a purse, apparently. But basically, this kid ends up wiping out a large part of the world with this virus, and then which Savage uses that opportunity after the kid becomes kind of like a dictator. Savage kills him and rises to power that way. So the whole point is to stop the kid here and now. I mean, mainly, but then it comes up, that question. It's kind of, they constantly make, comparisons to him and Hitler, because it comes up to that question. Like, if you had the option to kill Hitler when he was a kid, would you do it? And it's kind of that same situation here. It's like, yeah, he's a kid right now and he hasn't done anything, but he grows up. We know what he grows up to do, and that's to kill a lot of people. So it's kind of one of those situations. It's like, do the ends justify the means? Yes, you're killing a kid now, but you're stopping a monster from eventually wiping out a large population of the earth. So it's kind of like, what do you do? Some of the teams, particularly Snart, is kind of like, let's kill the kid, but everyone else is like, we can't. Especially because Stein brings up, to Rip, it's like, you killing this kid, it's kind of the same thing as Savage killing your son. So it's like, what if we kill this kid, it'd make us no different than Savage. It's like, there's a big difference. Rip's son wasn't going to be a genocidal monster, but like I said, so but Rip agrees, so they try to kidnap the kid, but that literally had no effect on the timeline, none whatsoever. And then Rip took him by himself and talked to the kid. He's like, you shouldn't do that, because Rip was going to kill the kid, but the kid was like, I see it in you. Savage taught him is to tell when people were he's like, you're weak, you're not going to kill me. And Rip is like, no, I'm not going to, because I have to at least believe that there's some goodness left in me, just like I have to believe there's some goodness left in you to know that you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't listen to Savage. But sadly, things didn't work out that way. What ended up happening, obviously the kid ended up killing his dad because Savage told him to, and now things have actually escalated. Whereas everything was supposed to happen 5 years from now, is now happening on a much smaller scale. I think it's in the next couple days or something, it's going to happen. Basically, the kid's too young to become the king, so now Savage kind of took over, and now he's going to be releasing the virus much sooner. So them trying to change time obviously worked out poorly in this episode. So I also really like the fact is that Ray was a little upset about finding out about the whole Atom suit situation. It's like, basically his suits are being used to keep they're used to keep the peace, but at what cost? They're being used as the slightest slip up and you're dead. And he actually went to the company that makes the suits and ends up, I like how he introduced himself though. He's like, call me Lecter, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. And then Jackson kind of gives him that look like, why would you pick that name? But the lady that's running the company is his great granddaughter. And so he's like, that's why she has all this information about how to make the suits and everything. They even see a bust of himself. But then later on he finds out, I love the twist that, because that whole thing like had Ray like messed up a little bit, because he's like, he felt bad because he's like, that mean I had a kid in 2016 that I didn't know anything about, and basically I abandoned that kid. And it's like, I mean, granted, it's like time travel being what it is, it's kind of like, well, you can always go back to 2016 and fix things, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, because he's off time traveling, that means he's not there to take care of the kid, so the world went on without him, obviously, so he wasn't there to raise his child, and, he felt like, man, that's a terrible thing. Like, maybe the reason why things became the way they are now is because I didn't raise my son because I was off time traveling. But you end up finding out that it's not actually, she's not his great granddaughter. That's actually his great niece, because her ancestor was his brother. He's like, wait, Sydney, my idiot brother Sydney? He's like, of course. He went off and freaking continued basically after I disappeared, he probably just took over everything and was like, basically, he kind of took over the company, like, at some... Wait, so does that mean, like, at some point during Arrow, he's going to take over Palmer Tech? He's going to be like, I am Ray's bro... I don't know. Is that what that means? Or is that just something that's... I don't understand that, because we've seen a future where Felicity has control of the company. Now we're seeing a future where Ray's brother kind of has control of the company, and it has something to do with Star Labs. I don't know if Star Labs, because they brought up Star Labs, I didn't catch it. I guess they assisted with this or something, or maybe his brother went off and went to Star Labs at some point. So maybe Felicity did keep Palmer Tech, but maybe Ray's brother took all his technology, particularly the Atom suit, to Star Labs. Maybe that's how it worked. I don't know. Just something that's kind of interesting. And then at the same time, we have, Kendra dealing with her whole, she thinks back to a life her and Carter had, particularly I don't know if it's necessarily the last life they had, but it's one of the more recent lives they had. It's the one where they had their son Albus, the one we've met this season, who is sadly now dead. But him, basically, it was them trying to struggle with the fact of like living this life. Are they selfish for going off and having a kid, knowing the situation they're in? With Savage going to be coming after them, and they kind of actually tell their son the story, and I thought it was very interesting because Kendra, it's something, I've said it before and a lot of people said it before, the whole Carter situation is going to be kind of popping in and out, so it's going to be hard to have a relationship like that, because she's like, Ray was like, oh yeah, I know it must be hard because it feels like you're cheating on me with him, and she's like, no, it feels like I'm cheating on him with you, and Ray's kind of like, oh. It's a little sad. He's like, I understood what kind of situation I was getting into. I was getting into a relationship that is two people who have found themselves over 206 times, I mean, it's really, how do you handle something like that? Like, how do you, like, he's a better person than me, because I'd be too insecure to handle a relationship like that, because it's like, well, you can see he's a little insecure, but he does try to keep, a positive outlook on the situation. But it's like, personally, I'm like, I don't know if I could, because it's like a relationship that has existed for thousands of years, and I just happen to fall into place while that one point in time that they're not together, because every time they meet, they find each other and latch on. So I don't know, we'll just have to see where that goes as well. And then we have the mix situation, which I really liked. Different people talked to him in this episode. Rip talked to him, and Sarah. I really liked the Sarah talk, because Sarah brought up that time her and Snart were freezing, and Snart brought up the story about him and Mick, how they met, their partnership, and you actually see it kind of affect Mick a little bit too. He kind of pretends like it doesn't, but you can obviously tell it kind of weighs on his head. And then Snart is like, you know what? You've got a dozen and one reasons to kill me. I've got a dozen reasons to kill you. He's like, so let's settle this right now. We brawl up. You win. You get to kill me. You get to leave. I win. I just, which, and really, and he never actually said if he won, because I guess Snart didn't really think he actually had a chance of winning anyway. Personally, I didn't think he had one either. I feel like Snart's more of the tactical dude. He's not really the hands-on fist type, like Mick is. But Mick beats him up, and then Mick can't even land a killing blow. Like, he's like, I told you can kill me. He's like, I thought getting out of here is what you wanted. And Mick's like, honestly, I don't know what I want. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I love that relationship, because no matter how much, he felt like he was abandoned, that's still his partner. That's still hands down probably like his only friend. Like, they've known each other since they were a kid. It's hard to, no matter what you go through, it's hard to let like a bond like that go, So because of this, he ends up warning them that basically, because he was captured, the Time Masters are going to send a group known as the Hunters. They're essentially mercenaries. They're all people kind of trained like him, except they're not going to go easy on them. They have the sole purpose of killing them. There's no like, oh, you're getting locked up or whatever. No, you're dead. So on top of the Savage situation, now they have to deal with that too. So a lot of stuff this team is going to have to deal with. So, but that's really all I'm going to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.